You know, some stories, they really sit at that unsettling crossroads, that fuzzy line between the psychological and the paranormal. This is one of those stories. It's a tale about a man, his passion for the open road, and a journey that brought something back with him, something more than just memories. It's really a story about what happens when salvation comes at a truly terrible price.
So let's start right here, with this really haunting image. A man who's physically there, but completely, totally absent. His wife has to feed him, and he doesn't even chew, he just swallows. I mean, what could possibly lead a person to this state? To get that answer, we've got to go back. Back to the man he was before all of this began.
All right, Section 1, the Midnight Rider. See, before his world went completely silent, it was actually filled with the roar of an engine under the moonlight. So let's meet the man at the very center of our story, Aditya.
By all accounts, Aditya was just a regular guy. He was an IT manager, had a loving wife, Nidhi. But his escape, his real passion, was getting on his bike on weekend nights. Just him, the open road, the hum of the machine. That was his meditation. It was this simple, solitary joy that, unfortunately, was about to become the gateway to an absolute nightmare.
Okay, Section 2, an unseen passenger. This is where the story takes a sharp, dark turn. On a ride that started out just like any other, that solitude Aditya loved so much was about to be completely shattered.
You know, it always starts so simply, doesn't it? He was miles from anywhere, on a totally empty road. He pulled over, had a piece of candy, and hopped back on his bike. For a moment, everything was perfectly normal. Just for a moment. And then came that first little prickle of unease, that sudden, sharp feeling that he wasn't alone. You know that feeling, right? That sixth sense that tells you someone is right behind you. His heart starts pounding, and instinctively, he glances at his mirror.
Nothing. The road behind him was just as empty and silent as the road ahead. He probably shook his head, right? Blamed it on being tired, just a trick of the mind on a long, dark ride. But the feeling, it just wouldn't go away.
Then came something he couldn't just explain away. The bike. It felt different. Heavier. Sluggish. Now, that's a sensation every rider knows. It's the feeling of carrying a passenger. He slammed on the brakes and spun around.
The seat was empty. The road was empty. But the feeling was not. The weight, the presence, it was still there. And in that one single chilling moment of certainty, surrounded by nothing but darkness, Aditya knew he was not alone.
And the events of that night just got worse and worse. This wasn't just some fleeting feeling. Over the next couple of hours, at around 10:30, he started seeing a figure darting at the edge of his vision, only for it to vanish. By 11, this unnatural fatigue just washed over him. Then, he stumbles upon this dilapidated old house that felt bizarrely familiar, almost like it recognized him. He collapsed inside, and when he woke up at dawn, he was just on the side of the road. And the house? It was gone, just a pile of rubble, as if it had been destroyed years and years ago.
So we're moving into Section 3, the stranger within. Aditya eventually made it home, shaken but silent. He probably thought it was over. But here's the thing. He hadn't come back alone. That unseen passenger had followed him home, and it was just about to reveal itself.
The change was, well, it was terrifyingly absolute. The man who loved the night suddenly became afraid of the dark. The quiet, logical husband became erratic, abusive, and just plain violent. His diet changed. He started demanding raw meat. And the most disturbing part? The man who adored his family now openly threatened to kill them all.
And the alien nature of this thing inside him revealed itself in these very specific, bizarre demands. Aditya started insisting they get a black cat. He demanded that lemons be cut and placed before their idols. And then there was the constant, chilling refrain, spoken in a voice that was not his own. My revenge will be complete.
His family, desperate, did what any of us would do first. They turned to medicine. Their doctor examined Aditya and diagnosed him with severe mental stress, which, is a logical conclusion, but one that completely missed the horrifying reality of the situation.
Which brings us to Section 4, confronting the spirit. As Aditya's threats got more and more violent, his family had to face the facts. Medicine had failed. They had to confront the possibility that they were dealing with something beyond science.
The family doctor, Dr. Amit, came to visit again, and this time, seeing the sheer malice in Aditya's eyes and hearing the foreign intelligence in his voice, he told the family what they already deep down feared. This is not a medical case. He actually recommended they seek help from an expert in let's say, a different field.
And that expert was Pundit Kalicharan, a man who didn't deal with ailments of the body or mind, but with afflictions of the soul, an exorcist. He was brought in to confront the stranger that was now living inside Aditya.
So what the family was facing, it actually has a name, Bhoot Badha. It's a term for all sorts of afflictions that are caused by a malevolent spirit attaching itself to a living person. This wasn't mental stress, this was a classic case of possession.
The pundit's plan was basically a multi-step spiritual intervention. First, they had to lure the spirit, which had now identified itself as Arun, back to the very road where it died. There, they would perform a sacred ritual with a pyre. But the masterstroke was this, creating a decoy body out of raw meat and claiming it was the person who actually killed Arun. The goal was to trick the spirit and then trap and expel it the very moment it lunged for its revenge.
And now our final section, accursed salvation. The ritual was all set. Absolutely desperate, the family put all their faith into this ancient practice. They were fighting for Aditya's soul, but winning this battle, well, it was going to come at an unimaginable cost. Back on that dark road, the plan actually worked. As the spirit of Arun lunged at that meat decoy, the Pandit performed the final rites. The entity shrieked and was violently expelled from Aditya's body. But in that convulsive moment, Aditya just collapsed, his head striking a sharp stone on the ground with brutal, brutal force. They had won. The spirit was gone. But when they rushed to Aditya's side and they looked into his eyes, there was just nothing there. The malevolent presence was gone, but the man they knew and loved, he hadn't returned. He was just empty.
And so, that brings us right back to where we started. The violence stopped, the threats ended, the spirit was gone. But Aditya's mind was completely shattered. He now just sits on that balcony staring into space. The only remnant of that night is a profound, deep terror of fire, a scar left by the sacred flames that saved his soul but cost him everything else. The family got their wish, right? Aditya was freed. But the empty shell that was left behind, it raises a deeply, deeply unsettling question. It was such a hollow victory, a cursed salvation that forces us to ask, can a soul truly be saved if the mind, the very essence of the person, is lost forever?